to The Daily Show. We are still here with President Barack Obama chatting democracy, disinformation, and who is better looking between us. I won. Let's start with...
The real question is how will he look when he's 60? 61. I mean, everybody's attractive when they're in their 20s and 30s. I mean, come on.
I'm almost 40, sir.
That's
I'm almost 40.
Almost?
Yeah, almost.
That doesn't count.
Almost.
That doesn't count.
Let's
Live
talk,
a little bit.
Let's talk about, I plan to, let's talk about your foundation. Let's talk about what you're doing. We see you out there, we see you talking about democracy. The world is in a really interesting place in that, a few years ago, I think the world was at like 49, 50% of the world was, you could say the countries were democratic, they had elections, people won those elections, there was an exchange of power, etc. Right. And now I think 70% of the world is living in a state where they either ruled, where it's a complete, autocracy or it isn't a democracy. Right. Two things, again. One, why do you think the world has gotten there? If democracy and freedom are things that everybody wishes to have, why does it seem like the world is moving away from that? Right. And then secondly, what can we do, or why should we then try to get back to this democracy?
If you look at the trend lines, there are a bunch of factors, I think. Globalization, the global economy, disrupted a lot of traditional societies.
What do you mean by disrupted?
Well, the global supply chain eliminates industries, eliminates jobs.
Got it.
Increases, the wealth gap, not only between countries but within countries, right? So, and then modernity challenges people's traditional notions of religion and family and gender roles, and you've got these culture clashes, right? You're in some village in Yemen, and suddenly your kid has a phone and it's looking at the Kardashians, and right, and you're so you get this vertigo, and what you've seen happen, I think, in a whole bunch of places, is essentially a pushback, a backlash to change that is happening too fast for their comfort. And when people are pushing back against change, then they're vulnerable to politicians who say, you know what, I can make things just like it was back then, when you were feeling more important, you had higher status, you didn't have people who don't look like you suggesting somehow that you're doing something wrong, that somehow your traditions are flawed, and that appeal usually also involves saying the problems you're feeling are somebody else's fault. It's those folks there. It's immigrants, it's gays, it's Hindus, it's Muslims, it's so forth and so on. And that then gets turbocharged with the information issues that we talked about. And look, democracy requires, by definition, getting along with people who don't agree with you. To me, one of the biggest challenges of democracy is not just the mechanics of elections or the independent judiciary. Those things are all important, but this is why this information and media issue is so important, because what we've seen here in the United States and elsewhere is a abandonment of a commitment to facts and reason and logic and stuff that is useful and
some would say necessary.
Necessary. And if we can't have a debate based on facts, then we can't get to better solutions, right? We start talking in slogans and nonsense, and there's no reality check.